Everybody, this is Dead Space coming at you, and today I'm going to be reviewing to you, and this will be my first ever video review of the SH Monster Arts Godzilla Singular Point Godzilla Ultima. And luckily I did keep the box for the sake of both the figure storage if he ever needs to not be on display, and, for this review. And the box art itself, or more like the promo shots of it are wonderful. I do have an actual camera outside of my Samsung camera, or cameras, since this is being filmed on a Galaxy S20, it actually looks pretty decent. Tried to make that work with my normal camera, didn't want to focus during video, and automatically stopped one of the videos while I was doing movie recording. So that's annoying. I'll have to work out my skills with my camera and the actual camera itself. But the box art itself is really cool. Some, I assume, just indiscriminate mathematical equations with x times y, and then y times x times y, or is that x times t, and then divided by, I guess that's like, I don't know. It looks like it could be semi-algebraic, but I don't know. I still need to watch the anime, even though I have seen some of Godzilla Monster Planet, which is a whole nother thing. But I do not have Godzilla Earth. I only have two SH Monster Arts figures, being Frozen Shin over there, and oh god, I just knocked his extra head off, but that's Frozen Shin, who I wanted to also do a review of. Oh god, don't fall off. But yeah, here's the box art itself, which has Tamashii Nations and Bandai in the corner in nice blue now. You also have the Godzilla 2021 with a nice little image of Shin Godzilla, and then, what does that say? I know it's Godzilla, but, or no, it's the original Godzilla, and then it's just Godzilla trademarks. And then we have in the corner SH Monster Arts, Toho, and then designed by Tamashii Nations in Japan, Bandai Spirits made in Japan. On the top of the box, we have SH Monster Arts. I assume that says Godzilla Singular Point Godzilla Ultima. Well, for right here, nice little product shot of the figure, like I said before. On the side, we have SH Monster Arts Godzilla Ultima with a little piece, a little more algebraic equations, and a little piece of the back box art with a nice little red kind of fire lava-esque image of Godzilla Ultima. And once again, same Godzilla Singular Point, Godzilla Ultima. Product shots of the figure with tail poses. The two little Jet Jaguar figures, both the full-sized and I don't know exactly what version of Jet Jaguar that is. I know it's the Singular Point version, which I do have pre-ordered. And I do plan on getting the Rodan figure too. And another little product shot of the figure. I assume warnings of various things. The other side with a nice little product shot of Godzilla Ultima himself, with SH Monster Arts up there. And then on the bottom, we have Bandai Spirits, Co.com, Bluefin, and Bandai Namco. So, yeah, and then another product shot of Godzilla Ultima himself. So let's get the box out of here. Not going to throw it, though, because it's an expensive box. And I do plan on using it to actually protect the figure. And let's get the figure himself in frame. And this is a big boy. He's a little more squat than Shin Godzilla, but here is SH Monster Arts Godzilla Ultima. Oh god, sorry. I was messing with my tripod. Which I am actually using on this phone. But in this case, the figure itself has a nice little presence to it. He's very, he's a shelf space monster. But yeah, the tail continues for a very long time. It is actually longer than this dude's tail. So bring them both in for a little earlier size comparison. Pull this back. Even though his tail is curved off into the distance, here, let me just... It's not perfectly straight, but I will work it out. Let me get it as straight as possible. That could sound and be taken out of context. But there is the tail, and it's way longer, or not actually way longer. It's only a little bit longer than Frozen Shin's, which is just the default Shin Godzilla with a separate tail pose and different paint. Or tail pose, tail sculpt. But yeah, I get him out of here, because I will make a later review about him. But bring Godzilla Ultima, and I'm going to leave the tail kind of wonkily posed, because I'll go into it and this is not scripted, and it's not going to be edited. So that's why I wanted to film it with the box, not just for the sake to start off, because that works. Thank you, Amgo, for that inspiration, but just for the fact that, you know, it will make a better thumbnail. But in general, let's go ahead and take a look at the figure. Now, the design of this figure, while very anime-esque, I still have yet to see it, Godzilla Singular Point, but I do really like this design with a very small, beady, or as much, not smaller head, but small, beady eyes, and more prominent brow point, and very sharp, tiny teeth, much like Shin Godzilla with no tongue. And the spines, starting with them, are painted really nicely. But there is points where it kind of bleeds, and I don't know if I like that on such an expensive $120 figure. But yeah, luckily Rodan's only $70, which seems cheap compared to this monster. But the spines start off nicely painted gray, but then they get really well painted with really nice little prominent, almost like leaf-like shape to them with little spines, or not spines, more so kind of like the veins of the leaf. And it continues really far back to about this point until it stops, and it just continues to be painted gray until the tip of the tail right there. But overall, going over more of the sculpting, here's his underside, looking at his stomach. He kind of has a nice little abdomen look. Or not abdomen, of course it's his abdomen. He looks like he has some form of almost chubby abs. And when I'm saying this dude is thick, damn boy he thick. Like, this dude is delicious. He's packing cake. Like, I'm not even joking. This dude has a dumpy. But outside of that, and getting into the little bit of humor, but the tail itself looks really, really nice, and the entire figure has a very, like, large and good aura about it. Like, it has a presence, if you will. And it's just fun to look at. I always find something new and cooler to look at every single time I look at it. But the entire design is just really cool to me. Having, like, almost like, he has folds, but it's like the folds are his scales, and then they have a more, like, kind of fur-like texture closer to the original Godzilla. But there's a lot of joints in this figure. He is very posable. But yeah, so getting into the rest of the sculpting, one of my favorite parts about this design, outside of the head, well, actually, we'll take a little look at said head. Zoom in. Here's the head it's in question. And this head sculpt is amazing. I really like it, and it's really, really well painted, having really nicely little painted yellow eyes, but they are off. They're so off from each other. It's like just kind of getting him facing straight like that. That just doesn't, and then the jaws kind of sculpted off. It's only with this head, but it doesn't distinctly bother me because when it's open, all your problems are fixed, at least as far as the jaw is considered. Painting and sculpting in the jaw is also wonderful. You can see like 3 little throat tubes in the back. I don't know like how well you can see it, but they are there. They're more prominent on the alternate head. But the shading on the teeth is also really nice, and you have like the tendons that allow him to open and close his mouth. This is what really reminded me of Shin. But yeah, the entire, and he also has like little scales continuing down his torso. But yeah, I really, really like this design. And there's Shin, who is now on panel. Sorry, Shin, I love you, but it's not your time to shine today, buddy. So, we're just going to go over the rest of Shin. Shin Ultima. Sorry. This is what I get for being an idiot who doesn't script his videos. Get that out of the way. But in the end, so I'm going to cover all of his accessories before I go over the articulation. So I'll get the actual figure out of view real quick, pull him out of panel. He's still here with his tail in my face, but you know, it's besides the point. So starting off with his accessories, he has 2 little figures of, I said it earlier. Why can't I? Jet Jaguar. which I did pre-order this figure as well. You have the full-sized version and this more miniaturized, like, squat version. They are in the same scale. Jet Jaguar, if you didn't know, is originally like a size-changing robot who appeared in one of the Godzilla movies, and it was more a movie about Jet Jaguar than it was about Godzilla. Godzilla did a weird, forever memed kind of aerial kick, but this design is much more kind of, I don't know, almost kind of steampunk, but simultaneously kind of reminds me of like Gigantor, which I mean, look, I love Soul Chogokin, but I don't know if I'm a fan of that early of an era of giant robots. But I do really like this figure. Let's see if I can get it to focus. With the little spear. Come on. Focus. But yeah, this for how small it is, it actually has really nice sculpting with what you can see is kind of like a wrapping around that holds the I forget which kaiju spear this is, but it's really cool. And then just the kind of the way the joints are sculpted and these little tubes that hang off of the ankles and even the backpack. Really, really cool design. I like it. And this more squat one has what looks like to be a little bit more of an open cockpit, and the hands are a little more curvy. It also has a little bit more of a backpack and more squat, small legs. But it's a really cool design as well. And then there's these two kind of indiscriminate. One's larger and one's smaller. I assumed they were stands, but in the promo pictures, if you look on Big Bad Toy Store, which is where I bought this, thank you BBTS. And I will give credit. Even I will put them in the tags if I can. But yeah, two of these little bases, I assume. I don't like bases for the little figures. I don't know specifically what they're for, but I am going to keep them because they came packaged along with the two figures. And his last accessory, it's not an atomic breath part, which is okay. I don't even know what Ultima's breath looks like, is a alternate head with a wonderfully sculpted, fully agape mouth or maw, where you can see all of his, I guess, throat tubes, like I said before, and all of his lines of teeth. But that is really cool. There's the ball joint at the back. But yeah, let's bring in Ultima again so I can show how that looks attached. Get him into a little bit of a more dynamic pose. So all you have to do is just pop his head off. And there's this little neck ring piece that is a part of the sculpting. Make sure you just have the ball joint aligned. You don't want to push too far up. And all you want to do is just take that neck ring, put it back around, and then line up. Let's see if I can get it in view. That hole in the ball joint. And that should just pop on like so. And I've done this several times. There's his hand again. That's the one problem I've had with this figure, just that one hand wanting to continuously detach. But there's my kind of dynamic-ish pose. With Ultima, mouth fully agape. Like that. Which looks really cool and reminds me a lot of Shin, who I can bring in. My Shin, when I got it, his bottom jaw is really loose. That's why it looks so unnatural, because it's literally just sitting there. But his jaw, Shin's can open even like just as wide and has two joints to do that. But yeah, Shin's even more of a freaky monster and is still my favorite Godzilla design. But that is his other accessory, which it still allows him to pose. It's just, I don't know if it feels as free, just due to the fact of like where the jaw's position is. So I'm just going to pop that off, because it doesn't have any posability, unlike the other standard head. Pop that on. Wow, that was working easier for me on the camera. On film. But yeah, starting with the articulation, you have a ball joint at the base of the neck, right, dumbbell ball joint, allowing the neck to shift up and down so he can look up that far using all the, oh wow, okay, that's way further than I thought he could look up. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Then he can look to the right that far, which it's not horrible, but it's not great. Oh wow, no, actually that's way better than I thought it was. You just have to shift it. Okay, wow. So he can look that far to the right and that far to the left, as well as that far down and that far up. The mouth can open. It has 2 ball joints, and it kind of matters where you position it. Let's see if I push this up or down. There we go. You push it down, because this kind of affects like the space that his mouth has to open. So his jaw can open that far using both joints, but it looks really nice. You also have a ball joint, a double ball joint at the base right there, and the upper torso piece right here can shift. And you have ball joints at the base right here, allowing him to move a little bit. He can't arch his back at all, but he can give the nearest hint of a crunch, which is not even that far off from where it usually sits. Then you have a ball joint up here at the base of each shoulder, allowing them to move forward and back. And then you have a ball joint right here, which is more so like the actual standard like in and out movement for each arm. And then 2, like another dumbbell ball joint, both here and here, allowing the elbow to bend that far forward and that far back. Really nice little elbow bend. And then a double ball joint at the wrist. You have 1 ball joint here and 1 ball joint there, just to show, because the left hand likes 2 more. You have a double ball joint right in there, and then a double ball joint right there. Moving further back, we have the legs, which are each on double jointed shifting ball joints. All of these are dumbbell joints. And that upper piece right here, this upper thigh piece, can kind of shift at will, if you can kind of tell. There we go. It's a separate piece, allowing him to kick really, really, really far forward to this point. That's insane. There's the bottom of his feet. And then that far back. Once again, quite insane. You can also shift into the thigh or into the upper area. And when I'm saying this dude is thick, dang, he looking extra. I'm not going to say that. I don't want to get demonetized. I don't know if I can say that. But he has some cake, and I like that about this design. I like that about Godzilla in general. Going further down the leg, outside of the 2 double joints at the base of the hip, there is no thigh swivel. You can't even, I mean, you can kind of fake one, I guess. And then you have a double jointed knee that bends this far forward and this far back. And then you have a double ball joint. But like I said, these are all dumbbell ball joints, so it's hard for me to describe to you. You have a ball joint at the base of the ankle right here, or at the upper, like kind of the calf, and then an actual one at the toes, allowing him to get about that much of an ankle pivot to each side, which is really nice. Getting him back on the ground with his legs, stabilizing him. Okay, here's where it gets insane. You have a double ball joint base, like right, or like a single ball joint right here, allowing his tail to kind of shift, but it starts more so right here, allowing his tail to move this far to the right and that far to the left. So up that far and down that far. So you have a ball joint here, 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 and here. I know that was out of frame, but I am not going to bother showing the insane amount of joints this thing has in his tail, because it's insane. To the point where I just had him leaning really far over. But yeah, it's insane. So there's 18 segments on the entire tail, and even the tip, and I mean the true tip, has a ball joint in it. There's no wires covering for anything. It's all ball joints, and it doesn't just stop. But yeah, I have the neck of Shin. I should have brought that here. Oh no. Here, 1 second. Let me pause, and I'll be back momentarily. Okay, I've returned. Got little NECA Atomic Blast Shin Godzilla for the size comparison. But yeah, anywhere there's 18 segments, each one's a double ball joint. You do the math, because that's a lot of ball joints. And this bad boy is big. He's a big boy. And I mean it. So moving him out of frame and moving a little bit further, let's do size comparison. All right, so starting off with SH Monster Arts Frozen Shin Godzilla, who is taller than him, but is pretty much smaller in every other area except his torso, head, and the thickness of his tail and crotch area. But size-wise, there they are, like foot to foot, head to head. And Shin's tail can move up a little further, making him way taller outside of his head height, which he's still taller than Ultima. But yeah. And then moving this dude out. Thank you, little SH Monster. It's Frozen Shin. Here's my first, who I got before Frozen Shin. This is because I wanted some version of Shin that was more affordable. Here is the in and around $20 to $30 SH Monster Arts, or not SH Monster Arts, NECA Atomic Blast Shin Godzilla, which does not have as luscious of articulation in the tail, not as natural, as well as not as natural painting at the spines, but the sculpting's still nice. It does suck he doesn't have a normal head, though, so his mouth is constantly agape. But that's what Shin Godzilla's head looks like when his jaw is completely open for his atomic blast, or atomic breath. But yeah, so overall, I know this wasn't that great of a review, and I'm pretty sure it's stupid long. This figure is amazing. It's a really good figure. If you haven't seen Godzilla Singular Point, I guess go watch it. I don't know if it's any good, but I will go watch it later. But this figure overall is quite wonderful. I enjoy the posability of it. I enjoy the design. He's going to look nice next to the Singular Point. Why can't I remember? I forgot again. But this dude, the Singular Point, the actual full-scale version of him. But yeah, that's going to be really fun. But for now, he's going to be on the shelf with at least SH Monster Arts Frozen Shin, but I'm pretty sure NECA Shin will get his own little shelf. I still do love this dude. He's not perfect, but I do love him. Well, he's perfect in my eyes. He's perfect in a different manner. A NECA figure and a SH Monster Arts figure are two different things. But, because that is a nice $30 to $40, and that is $120. That is $120. And, that's an exclusive. And there's my pop socket. But yeah, would I recommend this figure to you? Yes, I would, if you are a SH Monster Arts collector. If you are not, and if you are very young, at least under the age of, I don't know, 10 to 9, that doesn't mean you can't get it. I wouldn't recommend this figure because, first off, it's more of a collectible. He is very posable, but he's not fragile. Does that mean you should be careful with him? Yeah, you should still be a little careful with him. But he's very spiky, and everything that is sharp is sharp. Not as sharp as Frozen Shin, but it's sharp, son of a bitch. But yeah, he's a big boy. He is a very big boy. So just make sure you have the shelf space. I hope you enjoyed this video review of SH Monster Arts Godzilla Singular Point, Godzilla Ultima, and this is Dead Space checking out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And have a nice day.